and welcome to the rDNA podcast. The R stands for
real.
Oh, did you do it instead of me?
I did. I stole your thunder.
That's my
thunder stealer.
That's my bit. What do I do now? That's my intro bit.
You can still do it. Just pretend I didn't. Go ahead. That's fine.
Well, the R stands for real, as in R-E-E-L, because we be keeping it real. Thank you for the host, Batman. Welcome, everyone. We're live on Twitch. It's a Tuesday night, another podcast recording night. We revamped our studio a little bit. We're now on a movie screen this time instead of the normal studio space because it's a movie podcast. I figured it was more fitting to be in a movie theater than what we were doing. So we're trying it out. What's up, Trevor, Ty, Batman, everybody in chat so far? Welcome. Tonight is the movie podcast, the rDNA. What's up, Dingus? Thank you for the host. And we're going to be talking about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which is very exciting. We're here with iRob and the voice of Rated. The only downside, says Ty, is no more couch Ty. Let's find a way to get you in the seats. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
It's a temporary Rated voice.
Yes, we're going to try to get him on video. He's currently getting dinner. So, thank you for the host, Jolly. What's going on, everyone? We're here, Rated. Our guest tonight, the reason for it is Rated actually was so generous and so kind, has listened to this podcast since its inception, and has heard my begging for this movie, because iRob had never seen it yet, and that really pissed me off.
That was remedied today.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
After work time, that happened. So not too long ago. It's fresh in my brain.
Good.
As your Sonic cherry popped.
I did.
It sounds weird, but yes, he did. So we got Trevor and Ty said they hadn't seen the movie either. Batman hadn't either until now. So we've had one person at least watch it. Well, two technically because of iRob. So
that means that Rated popped like 5 people's cherries. There you go.
Look at you, Rated.
Hey,
getting down, man. Look at you. We're gonna have to get you tested though.
Yep.
For steroids, of course. What do you guys think? Jeez.
I thought it was for something else.
Nope, we're not going there. This is a kids podcast, kind of.
I was saying for COVID.
Keep the lookout for anything itchy. That's what you got to do.
For anything bitchy?
Itchy.
Oh.
Itchy.
I was going to say, I'm here, so you found it. So, Trevor, Ty, you guys need to go watch this or not this well, you got to watch this podcast too, but this movie. Here's the thing. There are a lot of video game films. There are a lot of good ones. Well, maybe not a lot. There are some good ones. There are a lot of bad ones, and then a lot in between. Our mission since day one of this show has been, let's find the worst video game film out there. When you think of Sonic the Hedgehog, do you think it's possible they could make a good video game adaptation into a film?
Well, you couldn't just have a blue hedgehog running across the screen for an hour and a half.
Well, why
so
not?
No, I mean, yeah, that is the hard part. Like, the game did have a storyline to it, but at the same time, you're going through different levels, just running across the screen.
So Batman says it's a good film. Ty says I've met someone who says film like film.
Film?
Film? That's different.
I need to go watch my film.
That's different. But yeah, so
that does sound. That I'm just gonna throw. That does sound like something you would do, Trev. Just because you like to pronounce things differently.
That's a strange one. I'm not even that. No, I'm not putting that one in the world. So let's go back in time, shall we? It was a few years back now, the announcement of a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. A trailer dropped where we got to see the design of Sonic the Hedgehog. Do you guys remember that?
It was so bad.
Yes.
So bad.
Oh my god. It didn't even look like Sonic.
No, it did not.
Like the human face with the human teeth, and
let me see if I can.
It honestly looked like a child in a Sonic body costume with a mask on. Like they just CGI'd the mask.
So luckily they did listen, and because original, I don't care what else was in the movie, you couldn't have seen anything other than that.
Yeah, that would have been like the real downside to that movie if they kept the original version.
Yeah, I have the image up now. I was attempting to mimic it for those watching the video. If you're not watching the video, check us out on YouTube where we archive it. Or if you're here live with us, obviously you've seen it. Trevor says, when I think Sonic, I think I'm going to go play Mario instead. Come on. That's not cool.
And this is, I can call it like a Genesis was my first system that I actually owned. And it came with Sonic 2.
It did.
So like everybody who started, like a lot of people, Mario was like their big first thing. Sonic was like my first foray into gaming.
Yeah,
so.
I think a lot of people in our age group was probably introduced to gaming. And we might be back, hopefully. Can you guys still hear me? Chatland, are you guys still with me? Having technical issues. We are going to get some weather. Why is it every time we do these shows we get weather? It seems to be the thing. I don't know if you're still with us, iRob, and it's trying to reconnect. Says disconnected on my call. Oy vey. You gotta love technical issues. Let me figure this out.
Oh, is he back?
I'm back, yes. So, we're getting weather. So, for whatever reason, it's probably going to be another one of those streams.
Gotcha. Because me and Rated were having a conversation, but we lost you.
Yeah. So, where was I with that? So, going back to, you said the Sega Genesis, right? It was a system for a lot of people of our age group. It was one of their first systems. It started off the big...
It was my first system.
See, it was your first system as well. And it started off the big war, the console wars of the 90s. This finally gave Sega their actual mascot they needed because Alex the Kid just didn't cut it for that brand for them. It wasn't edgy enough. It wasn't going to compete against Mario. Let's put it that way. And the 90s was all about attitude, and Mario lacked attitude, and Sonic had it. It was faster. It was more colorful. It was just a more fun game than Mario at that time.
Yeah, because if you think it was all marketing and all stuff, because the games are generally very similar. You have a person, you run to the right.
Yeah. And then another thing that Sega did too was their catchy intro.
Yes. How does that go?
Sega.
There you go. And this movie actually did that too. It was a nice little nod to the Sega branding, which I absolutely loved seeing that on the big screen.
Well, I also liked how in the Paramount with the mountain and everything, they did the Sonic rings. It's pretty cool too.
Yes.
Yeah, I did one of my first, because I take notes, was that the intro for the movie. Literally, I put "sweet intro." So there you go. That's
It was a really good intro. I loved it. So going back to the beginning, the roots of this, then we saw the design of Sonic. The trailer dropped, and people were not happy. Immediately, this thing was getting dismissed and getting a lot of hate for that design. It wasn't a good design. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it was not a good design, as you saw. And they delayed the movie and took some time to redesign Sonic. And in all honesty, it was for the better. Ty says they bullied the studio until they changed it. Yes, they did the right thing. They did the right thing by delaying it, and they did the right thing by changing it. And I'm glad they did.
So if Ty's right, one good thing has come out of bullying. Changing Sonic's design. So there you go.
Yeah, this... So there's some verbiage here on it. It received a negative response from critics and fans. It was compared unfavorably to another 2019 video game film, Detective Pikachu, which we recently did, which added fur and skin textures to the Pokemon characters. Sonic's humanoid appearance was described as evoking an uncanny valley response. Former members of Sonic Team who created the Sonic the Hedgehog games also expressed surprise. A second poster was leaked online shortly after. Fans complained of a lack of resemblance to the games and criticized the positioning of Sonic's legs, spawning an internet meme in which users recreated the position. The film's official Twitter account posted an image of Sonic behind a sign reading, "Can't a guy work out?" Images of the Sonic design were leaked in March 2019 to more fan criticism, and even the Sonic co-creator Yoji Naka was shocked by the design and felt the ratio of Sonic's head and abdomen was imbalanced. So again, they delayed it. They improved the visual effects of the film, and a few months later, they released the film. And this was February 14th, 2020, which was just before the beginning of the pandemic for the United States, which was the very last movie I have seen in movie theaters is this film. And I actually have another picture to show. Which one is it? Here it is. So for those video watchers, this is me taking my oldest son, Atticus, which this is now, 18 months later, and the kid looks so grown compared to back then. But we went together to see this, and it was such a cool thing to share that. And in the picture there, he's got his Sonic the Hedgehog stuffed animal, which was mine when I was younger, that he's inherited. So,
and even Frankie was born right after this movie came out.
Yeah, that's right. Which that's crazy too. It's been so long, but yet not that long ago. Like it feels like an eternity in some instances. But let's talk about the plot of this movie. We already talked about the character design, which was an incredible, important factor as far as feedback into the possible success or failure of this thing. Again, it came out February 14th, 2020. The budget on this one, this is an interesting note, $85 to $90 million. I'm assuming a lot of that went into the visual effects and the redoing of such visual effects for the film. Well, the good news is it had in the box office $319 million, becoming the sixth highest grossing film of 2020 and the highest grossing video game film adaptation of all time in North America, which has now prompted a sequel titled Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and it's scheduled for the release in April of 2022. We'll see if that makes that timeline, because a lot of things keep getting pushed back for various reasons. Obviously, the big push is to get people back in theaters, because that's where the money's at.
With Miles.
Yes, which we'll get to. Spoiler. Among other characters. So the story begins on a distant planet. Sonic, an anthropomorphic blue hedgehog who can run at supersonic speed, is chased by a tribe of, how do you pronounce this? Echidnas? Is that the proper pronunciation? We'll go with it.
Sure.
His guardian, Longclaw the Owl, gives him a bag of rings that opens portals to other planets. She uses one to send him to Earth while she stays behind to hold off the echidnas. Let's see. Chat says
I did have a note for this.
Yep, go ahead.
Just for being like marketed to kids, this was a super sad opening scene.
Why is that?
It was.
Well, like it's all this bad stuff happening, and like the mentor owl dies, like the first scene of the movie, and like he's alone.
I mean, have you ever seen Up?
Yeah, it had a sad opening scene as well. But the other thing too that I want to point out is, I don't know if you guys noticed it as well, but when you look at the way that I guess you could say the setting is, the planet, it reminds you of the very first level of Sonic.
Which is,
You know,
what is it, Green Hill Zone?
Yes.
Which they also
Green Hill
named
Zone.
the city that.
Exactly. So kind of throws everything off.
Weird coincidence. I don't believe that beginning area though is known as Green Hills. It just coincidentally enough resembled Green Hill Zone with the circular, running paths and things, which is so conveniently built that way. Like, is that by design? Like, you don't see things in nature like that all too often. I mean, they exist.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's the thing that makes it confusing because, like I said, in the game, that's known as Green Hill Zone. But then in the movie, he gets transported to a place in Montana called Green Hills.
Green Hills, yep, Green Hills, Montana. Shout out to chat real quick. Kira says, I love Jim Carrey in the Sonic movie. I honestly think he saved the movie, but the movie itself was meh. But Jim Carrey plays his role so well. There's feedback so far from our community members. Let's continue the plot here. Let's head to Green Hills, Montana after that tragic opening sequence. But in all honesty, if you think about it, you say, like, for kids that's dark, think Disney movies. Think Up. Think Bambi. Like, really everything starts off with tragedy. So, like, I think it's fine for kids. It's
Just my note, because like you go and be like, it's a Sonic movie, and then that's what happens. The first scene, you're like,
yeah, but Bambi, like,
Yeah, Bambi.
I didn't see Bambi when it first came out.
Well, no, you wouldn't
I
have.
had the VHS. I had the VHS. Watched it when I was a kid.
Yeah, same,
Very
man.
sad.
Well, I saw it when I was a kid, but I'm saying like it came out in what, like the 40s. So
I don't know. I couldn't tell you the exact year Bambi came out, but it was quite some time
you
ago. Yes.
you have Google.
I do, but I mean, feel free.
Somebody in chat will help us out.
Somebody look up when Bambi came out for just cause now it's the talking point. So we flash forward.
1942.
42?
Yes.
That was a good guess saying the 40s then,
That was
wasn't
a
it?
really good guess. Yeah. That's an old movie. That thing's 80 years old almost. Good Lord. So yes, for 80 years, kids have been watching movies with tragedy in the very beginning, so it's fine.
Same thing with Lion King.
Yeah, Lion King, man, that still chokes me up today. Like, even more so, like, it's funny how that changed as a kid. It was like, oh no, my parent. But now it's like, oh no, I'm abandoning my child because I'm dying trying to save him. Like, that's a whole different level of emotion. So, yeah, Lion King, that's good.
Your emotions change.
They really do, especially when you have kids. Man.
Yeah.
Back to Sonic, though. We could talk about other movies all day. 10 years later, we flash forward. Sonic enjoys a secret life near the town of Green Hills, Montana, which we established belongs to make friends. As you mentioned, he is now lonely because alien planet for him. Do you think he's going to get taken liking to, by humanoids or other animals? Probably not.
Especially when humans, have the whole fear of aliens and extraterrestrial.
Exactly.
Humans are garbage. Why would you ever give them a chance?
You probably shouldn't, let's be honest. He does idolize someone, though. He idolizes the local sheriff, name is
Donut Lord.
Donut Lord, yeah. But his real name, Tom Wachowski, but he calls him Donut Lord.
Yeah.
Why does he call him Donut Lord? He mentions this in the dialogue.
Because he talks to the donuts and then eats them.
Yep. I was gonna let Rob answer that since he just watched it.
It's true. Akira says it's more like who older we get and notice more sad things and hidden messages for adults. True. Batman says Jim Carrey is awesome in all his movies. Ty says you gotta feel sadness to appreciate happiness. True. Akira also says, you know, we're watching Up. Where did the kid hide? Under the house, because you freeze frame it as it goes up and he isn't there. Yeah, you know, I don't know. We'll have to go rewatch that and find out where he was at.
Yeah.
He is oddly...
Movie magic. He just appears.
It's true. Yeah, it's a movie. You know, it's like the T-Rex, you know, coming out and attacking the truck when there's a giant drop there, but there wasn't before. Plot holes exist.
Which until someone points it out, if you just watch the movie, you'd never know. But then once you know it, you can't unsee it ever again.
Yeah, there's a giant cliff that wasn't there when the T-Rex came out, so there's a major plot hole. I've never understood that one. So, but yes, Donut Lord and his veterinarian wife, Maddie, calling her
Pretzel girl.
Pretzel lady.
Pretzel lady.
Lady. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a lady.
Unaware the pair
she
are
does
planning
yoga.
to relocate. She does yoga. Yes. They're planning to relocate to San Francisco as Tom, Donut Lord, bored with the lack of action in Green Hills, plans to accept a position he's just been offered in the San Francisco Police Department. One night, Sonic becomes upset over his loneliness while playing baseball, which this was like, all right, I'm going to check this scene real quick because I understand this scene. Not baseball so much, but Sonic plays baseball against himself. He's that fast he can pitch and hit and catch and play all the positions just by himself. As a young lad, I had a basketball hoop in my driveway, and I often didn't have a lot of kids to play with sometimes. I'm an only child, keep in mind. I would be playing basketball against myself, going for a shot, and then reaching my other hand out and blocking my own shot and having a game against myself.
So you play basketball, your right hand against your left hand? Is that what you say?
Yes.
I did that with football.
You see? He gets
Did you tackle yourself?
Yes, I would literally fall and everything like that.
See, he gets it. Do you have siblings or?
I do, but they are all older than me. The only one that was ever with me was my sister, who is 2 years older than me, but she would not play football with me.
So you just had to figure it out by yourself. So you understand.
And also, you being your only child, there wasn't any, like, until later, there wasn't really any kids that lived around you either, was there?
I mean,
I don't think there was,
but they were either much older or much younger. There was really no one, like, directly, my age. So
I just remember when we started hanging out, like, right on your block, there was, like, no kids whatsoever, even then. So.
Yeah.
Your neighbors didn't like us.
Ty says that he used to play Monopoly against himself because nobody had the patience. I mean, board games, like, you could technically play a board game by yourself. Cause,
yeah.
I played chess against myself.
That's a weird one. Like, Monopoly is just all luck. There's strategy, at least with chess.
I'm going to kind of get back to the movie. There is a scene that you kind of missed. It was on the road, and he's sitting there running by.
Oh, the turtle?
Trying to, well, the turtle gets to that point, but he's sitting there trying to crack the speed of 300 and everything. And then Tom finds, the blue strand of his hair. Then Sonic saves the turtle, and then goes and takes him for a ride. Well, not for a ride, but for a run. I don't know if you noticed, but the turtle smiled when he was going fast.
I did. That was a cool sequence.
And then he put him down, and the turtle was shaking like, oh my god.
So yeah, well, that was after he lost the turtle and had to run back and get him.
Because he was trolling Donut Lord with his speed trap.
The radar gun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I thought was pretty cool.
That was a fun sequence. It was like happy, upbeat, and just it's after the dark intro as you so described it. This gives a warm welcome to the character who's perceived as being very lonely, but still like just a fun, upbeat, happy-go-lucky hedgehog. And it's a good introduction for the character and for the male lead.
Well, and then the fact that, instead of showing him as being, somebody like how it describes, basically like a homeless type of creature striving, just eating berries and stuff. He had a little cave where he had, things to do in there. He had a ping pong table.
Comics.
He turned the comics. He turned a washer or dryer into a workout treadmill thing,
which I thought that was really cool.
A hamster wheel, basically, if you would call. He did things for himself to make him, he accommodated himself so he fit in better.
He also learned about culture and stuff by spying on this family, especially
movie night.
They watched movies.
They did reference one of my favorite movies, Speed,
which is a good movie. Which, oddly enough, right, is a fast hedgehog.
Speed.
You would reference Keanu and Speed,
and he does mention that Keanu is the man, which is true. So.
Yeah, it is true.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Kira says we not talking about the fact. I think he was a kleptomaniac because he was lonely. Was he?
I can see it but then again, he was probably just taking stuff that people were throwing out. I think about the only thing that he really stole was when he made his ping pong table. It was a sign that would go on like the highway.
He does steal later.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's. How did?
Because he can get away with it.
Yeah,
so.
there is a question of integrity there as far as paying for things, especially on their road trip later. And the things that he gathers, how did he get those things, and how did he get to do those things? But we're jumping ahead. But yeah, it's a nice little introduction to the family. We learn about his cave, his home, what he is up to, obviously his hobbies, his interests, what he does in his 10 years now to keep himself occupied and learn all these things. We flash forward back again to the baseball scene. He becomes upset over his loneliness while playing baseball by himself, and he starts running at high speeds in a circle around the mats, inadvertently triggering an electromagnetic pulse, which causes a large-scale power outage across the Pacific Northwest. The United States Department of Defense reluctantly enlists the services of eccentric roboticist and scientific genius Dr. Robotnik, which, as Kira mentioned, fantastic actor in this role of Jim Carrey.
Okay, so I love Jim Carrey. I'm glad that he had the role for it because he plays it very well. But my only issue is, if I know not everything has to correlate with comics or even video games and stuff like that, but because Dr. Eggman is such a unique character to Sonic, getting a guy that's a little more plumpy would have probably been beneficial. Because
I get
Dr.
what you're
Eggman
is saying.
Is fat.
He is, and we do get illusion, they allude to it with the epilogue.
I think Sonic calls him Dr. Eggman.
He does. They reference both the Japanese and American versions of the character, which obviously Robotnik and Eggman being the two. And later on in the film, again, we'll get to that as far as his design, because it does get changed because of the events of the film. But the oversized, jolly, stereotypical evil Eggman doctor, who else would you cast, or would you give him a suit? Or would you make him animated? That's the... Everything is so grounded in this world that I think having Sonic already is kind of okay, this is strange. How does this make sense? It's like the Detective Pikachu movie. Why is this... They do the best they can to make it realistic. But then you introduce a zany character like that visually, not just manneristically, if that's a word, we'll go with it. I think that would have been too much. Could he have pulled it off? Of course. We've seen him, in various roles and things. But I think the design was like the look of the character was a perfect choice. Because I don't know if I would have loved his big jumpsuit self. What's up, Lana? Kira says, well, he couldn't pay people in money because I don't think gold rings are a form of currency. Kira also said, well, I guess they wanted to go for a more human-based character because someone of Eggman's weight actually tried to do what Jim Carrey does. It would be in a mini scooter. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, again, it would be strange to do. I don't know. That's my opinion. Everybody has their own.
Yeah, I think Paul Giamatti would have been a good choice to play it too.
That'd have been such a different character, though, too.
Yeah, it would have been, but I'm just saying, the build that he is would have probably been perfect.
The build, yes, visually, but that would have been a darker character.
Not if you do it right.
Well, sure. I mean, that's the acting chops of the people. A lot of people criticize Jim Carrey, too, because he's very similar in a lot of roles. He has similar mannerisms, similar things that he does, right?
He's always the quirky comedian.
It's a little hot in these rhinos.
Yes. It's he's got a style of comedy that is his own. So
yeah. So was almost every big comedic actor, so it's fine.
Yeah.
However, I will always be a Jim Carrey fan, so.
Oh, of course. There's very little that I don't like of his resume of work. Ty says, I think it makes sense, because if we had seen somebody who looked like Game Eggman roaming around the real world, everyone would be wondering how this person lived amongst normal people. And that's what I mean, to make him coexist in the world that he does, I think the design was obviously by choice. Danny DeVito.
I mean, he's a doctor.
He's a doctor. There are plump doctors. It's just a thing.
You can be a doctor and not mean that you're healthy and being that just means you did more schooling.
Right. You care about others and you've worked on your brain over your body. So but yeah, Danny DeVito was a name drop. I like Danny DeVito, but I don't know if I see him in the. He was mentioned as being Pikachu as well in the Detective Pikachu movie, which that would have been weird.
I could see DeVito doing it, but I don't think he would have been able to play the serious type as well.
No, probably not. He's. I mean, he can be.
I mean,
the Penguin.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, but I mean, look at him when he was in Jungle. Not Jungle. Jumanji.
Who?
DeVito.
Are you thinking of Jack Black?
No.
Are you talking about the newer Jumanjis?
Yeah.
I've only seen one.
Jumanji 2.
I haven't seen the newest one. I've seen one of the two newest ones. The first of the newest ones. So I don't know.
He's in
the second one yet.
He's in the second one.
Is he? Okay, I haven't seen it, so that's why I was confused. Sorry.
No, you're fine. But he plays a grumpy old grandpa basically.
Gotcha.
Which he plays it perfect, but
I think because he's a grumpy old man, so not much acting there.
Yeah, it's I don't know. We could figure we could rotate names in all day. Obviously, it's not going to change who they cast. I don't know who would.
And Jim Carrey was great, so it's fine.
And that's just it too. The end of it all, Jim Carrey did a fantastic job in the role. Visually, we could have swapped people in, but I don't know if they could have had the same performances or if it would have fit in the world that they presented. Because here's the thing about Jim Carrey. He's done, obviously, adult comedy during his lifetime, but he's also done children's comedy. I mean, you're talking The Grinch, right? One of the best Christmas films out there, in my opinion.
And my thing with Jim Carrey, and we all said he has his characters that he plays, obviously, every big comedic actor has their thing. Mm-hmm. But his way of doing it is, it's funny, but it comes off as him trying to be serious at the same time. He's great at it.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous, but you believe he is trying to be serious.
Yeah.
So it fits with what they needed for the character. It was like.
So when they enlist the military, they have Robotnik show up, right, with his assistant and all his little robotic friends. It has one of my favorite lines from the movie, where he basically mocks the military leader about getting drunk and putting my boat in the water. Like, just the way he delivers that dialogue, I'm just like, nailed it, dude. Like, that's funny. Like, that's stuff a kid would not get, but like, it's those little things that you guys mentioned where they insert humor for adults too mixed in with it, and it's stuff like that. His sarcasm and wit, and that character should be, think they're egocentric and they're maniacal, and he delivers on all those fronts for this character. So Sonic, in a stage of fright, flees from his underground home because of all this, but Tom discovers Sonic in his shed and accidentally shoots him with a tranquilizer dart, causing Sonic to drop his bags of rings through a portal to San Francisco Trans-America Pyramid instead of the mushroom planet he was planning to travel to. A hesitant Tom agrees to help Sonic, and the two flee when confronted by Robotnik, who falsely labels Tom as a domestic terrorist. So he shows up at his house questioning Tom on, because he knows where he's at. He knows that Sonic is there, but he doesn't want to let him in the house. What did he say? He was with the electric company or something at first?
Yeah,
but then he said who he was with
the electric company.
But of course, the little town, Tom knows everybody. So,
well, especially as a
he
police
says
officer.
He's with the electric company. Yeah. He says he's with the electric company. Tom throws in a quick question about if he knows his buddy Spence, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, Spence," And then as he's trying to get in, that's when he throws the hand up and saying, But the funny thing is Spence works for the gas company.
So obviously,
or the electric, or it was. Yeah.
It was the other one. Yeah.
He tricked them. He was able to trick him, because he knew that he wasn't with who he was saying.
So through all this, he doesn't want to let him in the house. He basically forces himself through. Sonic reveals himself to save Tom, and then they have an action sequence running away from the little robots, the Robotniks, if you will.
Which he calls out prior with his little glove thing. He calls out prior to when Tom is stopping him at the door and not letting him in.
I mean, those are pretty cool, though. Like the special effects.
Oh, yeah, the little glove.
Yeah,
that glove thing was pretty cool.
Be something that I would want if that technology was real.
It's the part where Tom punched Dr. Robotnik in the face.
He did.
Yep.
And they bring that up again.
One to do that.
He doesn't take too lightly.
Do that to him was eating through a straw for a year.
Yes. So that right there has made this a main point for him to hunt this hedgehog and Tom down to capture them and do what they want. So the two slowly bond, Tom and Sonic. Tom finding himself sympathetic to Sonic's desire for a real friend, and Sonic creates a bucket list through conversation when learning about one, and Tom works on helping him complete several entries along their journey. So their journey takes them down a highway, which Sonic spots a rubber band, the biggest rubber band ball place.
Yeah.
And wants to stop.
And,
so then he goes and checks it out.
Which comes into his klepto
right
state.
When he just shows up with a hat and a bunch of little rubber band balls. Yeah, it really wasn't that great.
You can't forget the mouse pad.
So it's so funny that the patience level that Sonic is fighting. Tom obviously denied him to go to the rubber band place. He jumped out of the car, ran there real quick, came back, in Sonic speed with merchandise and a little paddle and ball toy. And he's like, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" A knowing little kid type thing.
Yeah.
And it's these little things between the two characters that just works. I can only imagine the task as an actor, because the challenges of working with somebody that's not there. I'm sure they had to stand in like for a green screen or green suit or something, but there had to have been many challenges for him.
It's like a tripod with a head on it. They're like, this is where he's going to be. There you go. I'll talk to that.
You ever seen how they did Jar Jar Binks back in the day?
Yeah, they had the actor walking around with a thing, like a thing on his head that was where the head was going to be, so you'd talk to the right spot.
Yeah. It just looks so stupid. So another one of the places...
I find that very challenging.
It would be. Another one of the places they go to is a local tavern or bar, if you will. And
biker bar.
A biker bar of all places. What was the cover band? ZZ Top?
ZZ Top cover band. You got to see their beards.
Yeah. So ZZ Top cover band. A lot of bikers there. You know, the mean bikers. The stereotype. The waitress questions them having a child in the bar. He defends it as a, 43-year-old or something with a skin condition.
Yeah, with the condition that turns his skin blue.
Yeah, and stunted his growth. So I'm like, well,
yeah,
and she believes
just
it.
Buy it, which is the best part.
And he orders him a mellow yellow.
Yeah, the mellow yellow. He ordered a whole bunch of stuff and buffalo wings.
Yep. So and then they bring up the conversation about the bucket list, which
and then 90s cliche. It happens.
Oh,
the bar fight.
Oh, the epic bar fight sequence. So honestly, this was another one of my favorite sequences of the film. They used basically what was made popular by Quicksilver in the X-Men movies.
Yep. I was hoping somebody else would notice that.
Oh, of course. Unless you haven't seen those movies. But yes, this, I don't know if it's a tribute.
Yes, you should.
This sequence was awesome. I know they did it recently again in the X-Men movies. I don't want to say it's overdone, but it works in this movie. And the music that they used for the sequence, him basically setting everybody up to get hurt, get punched in the face, fall over, have drinks spilled. He goes around the bar just basically doing pranks on everyone to have them all fall down except for him and Tom because of all this. So,
and he gives Tom a beer.
And he gives him a beer.
Yep.
So he's going at supersonic speed, just like Quicksilver. He sets all this up, and then when he gets done, obviously we go back to real time, and the song is done. Everybody falls over and everything. The bar is just like messed up, and they're the only ones standing there. So it's time to go, basically. I loved this sequence. I really did. What are your guys' thoughts?
I thought it was great.
Especially how he takes the banner and ropes it around through everyone's legs and then goes up to the ceiling fan and then when everything speeds back up, everyone just falls.
Yes. So good.
And uses all the toilet paper, so he makes sure to mention that when they're driving away.
Yep. So his one little last prank there.
Although the only part that wasn't believable for me is when they come out, there's more bikers, which let them then get in his truck and drive away.
Yeah.
Didn't they knock over the bikes, though, too, at the end?
No.
No, the bikes weren't knocked over?
They were just like... No, they didn't do that cliche.
Wow.
But, they're just mad at him, but then, he gets in the truck, backs out, and then they all start running after the truck. I was like, yeah, he wouldn't have got in the truck if they went outside, and there was a bunch of bikers that were angry at him. But...
No.
And the one thing that they did keep was there was a scene when Tom comes back from being on the phone with Wade. He had, stuff from the little convenience store, coffees and stuff like that he set on the hood of his truck. And then as he's pulling away, you still see it right there too. So keeping that there, makes it to where things aren't getting misplaced. Or you have one of those little oops moments.
So you're saying there was continuity? Somebody actually paid attention?
Somebody thought that went through.
Nice. That is a common mistake in a lot of films, is continuity errors. If you go to IMDb, that's one of my favorite pastimes after watching a movie, is reading through the errors, where you can see like a cameraman in the shot or a crew member, or continuity is a big one.
I actually have a book that's old now, so it's older movies, but that's in our spare bathroom in case you're in there doing your thing and need something to read.
Yeah.
Has a bunch of those. Yeah.
It's just fun to read about that stuff. Plot holes. I mean, there's no movie is perfect. We're all human. So.
And then when you find out that in Games of Thrones there was a Starbucks cup.
Oh, I remember that. They digitally removed it though.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that one. There's is it Indiana Jones where extras walking through the scene in jeans.
Yup.
Yeah.
Or there's the other famous one in Gladiator. You can see a plane flying over in one of the scenes.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah, that stuff's fun. So they make their grand escape from this tavern. So having recovered one of Sonic's quills, Robotnik analyzes it and discovers it holds an almost limitless amount of electrical energy. This sequence in his little semi-trailer was quite
good scene,
comical. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does he want? What kind of coffee?
The soy latte or something like.
Yeah, his aggressive welcoming of the drink. He's like, of
Yes.
course I want it. Or like, I forget how he puts it, but he just...
Of course I want it. I love the way you make it.
Yes.
Like,
just the way he delivers it. Like, oh,
his interaction, the characters in it with him and I just watched it. I'm late, but his assistant are good through all of it. Where it's
well, he cup checked
Agent
them as
Stone.
they were leaving the bar, trying to trail them too from where they just were. Like, that was weird. Like, he cup checks them, and then the assistant comes like back to normal and just keeps walking. I'm like, what happened here?
left yourself open.
Yeah. So let yourself open.
Was that like an improv thing, and they just left it in the film? 'Cause, like,
Probably.
it felt so
Probably.
weird watching that.
I guarantee you there is a lot of other things that were not actually in the script. That was just Jim Carrey that made it in the movie too. Just
Oh, you gotta let the guy improv.
there has to be.
He's not gonna follow a script. Like, I'm sure he will, but like, you gotta let the guy improv.
Well,
That's his best work.
He looks at the script to get the idea for the scene, and then you just record him doing whatever the hell he wants and pick what's best. That's how it works, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's honestly best for what you're gonna get to. So, but yeah, that was weird. So they're trailing them. He decides to capture Sonic and use him to power his machines, basically, is what he's wanting to do. As he tracks him down, Sonic and Tom debate over Tom's plan to leave Green Hills, which Sonic disapproves of. He doesn't want him, leaving that area.
Because Green Hills is perfect.
Right. Why would you leave what is already great for you guys and what you have there, for opportunity in a big city? As he tracks them, Sonic and Tom manage to fight off several mechanized pursuit drones sent by Robotnik until Sonic is badly
Wasn't it
injured
just
after the
one
battle.
that split into more?
Yes. Which this sequence...
Which was kind of cool.
This sequence was cool. They made his truck a convertible.
Well, I actually wrote that down. Like, I want a convertible pickup truck. That thing looked cool afterwards.
A mangled mess.
You did forget to mention the scene where they stop at the motel.
Oh, yes. Go on. I'm missing things, but yes.
So they get there, and Tom's sitting there saying about how he's gonna get some rest because now they've been driving. And so Sonic gets antsy because he can't sit still. He goes all around the hotel room.
Destroys the hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
Yes. And within a few minutes, he's all tuckered out, goes to sleep. Tom goes over, tucks him in, and happens to look at his bucket list and what was left.
Make a real friend.
Well,
Exactly.
so heartwarming. Like, you just want to be Sonic's friend. Like, how can you not want to be
I want to be Sonic's friend. How would you not want to be Sonic's friend?
Right?
I would be his
super
friend.
super speed friend.
So fun fact, there was a kid named Dennis in elementary school, and in 3rd grade, I remember this for whatever reason, because he had moved there in 3rd grade. I think it's why I remember it significantly. But we would play Sonic at recess time, and he was Tails. I was Sonic, because, just I had to be Sonic, because that's the thing you do. So he was Tails. There were paths made on the playground. This is during wintertime, keep in mind. There were paths made where the banks are almost like a half moon, right? So a crescent, which very similar to the special stage in Sonic 2, if you're a kid with imagination. And we would just run these paths during recess time and wintertime. Like, that's one of my memories that I, for whatever reason, still recall for him and I doing. So that was us playing Sonic. Again, I was a big fan of Sonic, Sega, big part of my life. So this all comes to the whole friend thing. And he was, a dear friend in elementary school and growing up for me. Fun memory. So, yeah, so back at the hotel sequence, they leave the next day, and that's when they're back on the road again. This attack happens, correct?
Yes, that's when the attack happened.
I know I'm missing some of the beats of the movie. I apologize. I knew I wasn't going to hit everything. But if I miss important things...
That's why you got us.
Exactly. Back to... Where was I? So injuring after the battle. Again, this is one of those sequences in the movie where the beginning you mentioned it's a bit much for kids. I think this sequence might have been one of the couple in the movie that was a bit much for kids. There's a sequence at the end of the movie, too, where I'm like...
Are you talking about the battle sequence that is introduced in the beginning?
Yeah, the longer version of what's introduced in the beginning. But I'm talking about this one on the highway where the truck gets demolished, basically.
Oh, yeah, where it turns into the convertible.
Like, this could be very violent, but they did it tastefully for kids, I guess, if that's a thing.
It's an action sequence, but it's not over the top like anything.
But this is like action sequences you've seen in like Terminator, where they're being chased down by a Terminator and the car gets wrecked. Like, you can see how there's influences where it could have gotten really violent, but it didn't. And only Sonic gets hurt. A CG character gets hurt. Still terrible, tragic, but he gets hurt. So after they finally make their way and arrive in San Francisco, Tom brings him to Maddie, who treats him at her sister Rachel's home, which the exchange in this home is some good material too.
It's comedic gold, the interactions with the sister. I'm sorry.
The sister. Let's give clarification here. The sister does not approve.
No. Anything is a reason for her to divorce Tom.
So he cheating? He's not good for her.
Everything. It does him everything.
She does not approve.
He could just be simply breathing, and it's you need to divorce him.
So the banter from her is fantastic. She has a line later on too when she's, I know this is jumping ahead, but she's tied up. She has her Fitbit. She wants it attached to the dog, I think.
Yeah, the daughter who's
so she can get her steps in.
Gotta go fast.
But
gotta go fast.
Before you leave the house, you have to bring up the cute scene.
Oh yeah, we're not leaving the house yet. I wanted to just mention an important note for that character before we skipped it.
Oh yeah.
So yes, we're at the house. Please give us details while we're here at the house. Some of the things that happen.
So basically, because
All right, Rob.
the wife is a vet, so that's why he brought Sonic there, because hedgehog vet. And it basically turns out they just give him smelling salts and wake him up, and he goes super hyper because smelling salts.
Gotta go fast.
And then what I was talking about here, the cute scene you can't miss, is because they take his shoes off, which have the soles all burned out of him because he's been running in them for 10 years.
Yeah, which there's no
and
way.
The daughter,
I'm sorry, I have shoes that last like a summer. There's no way. 10 years of the same pair? Not happening.
But the daughter, like the cute little girl, the super speed shoes. They look just like the super speed shoes you get in the game.
The red iconic
The red with
sneakers.
The red with the white stripe.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "So your feet won't hurt anymore." And you're like, "Aw."
Oh. So yes, we get the iconic sneakers, and it was a gift from the little girl. So such a good.
Yeah. I was gonna say that the shoes are what he wears throughout the entire game. The red shoes.
Yes, that's the iconic shoes that you're familiar with.
Yeah.
I just know when you get those super speed ones, like I just remember like that's what they look like, and then they ran super fast. But you're probably right. But yes, the iconic red sneaker. Yeah.
Yeah, the red shoes. The red shoes complete the character.
Ty has a question. Let's hear his question. He simply just
the answer is Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. But he simply just put the word question in chat, so I'm assuming an actual question follows that statement. Was this story supposed to be like a prequel to the Sonic games? No. My interpretation is no. It's its own story based on the likeness and characters of the games. I don't think there's any actual...
Was this supposed to happen after the original games?
I don't think so either.
The only Sonic game that I could see this coming close to was the Sonic game that was introduced onto the GameCube with Shadow.
Or was that Sonic? Was it Shadow the Hedgehog or something?
Yeah.
I forget that
I forgot what the actual game was called, but it was a Sonic game. And the first level is you're on a snowboard going down like the hills in San Francisco. They play the
Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast is like that too, with the big hills.
Yeah, I think it was Sonic Adventures.
Yeah, that was on the Dreamcast.
Well, it was on the GameCube as well.
Right, they ported it to it. But Shadow, I think, was a game later. I don't remember. But this one had real world characters. But I get what you're saying.
But what I'm saying is, like the scenery and all that stuff. Because if you play the normal Sonic game, like I said, you're going in through Green Hill Zone. The other one that's right after called Marble something. I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
But you're going to places that were nowhere near this movie, so I think it was just a standalone type.
Yeah, I definitely think the film is a standalone. They pulled places, likeness, and things from various games. Obviously, the San Francisco thing, I pretty much can certify that it was pulled from that game. But no, I don't think this is related to anything. See, you don't need to have known or played the games really to understand who this character or characters are. You can enjoy this movie without any of that. And that's the special thing about this film. You could have never played a Sonic game, and I think you can still appreciate and enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
So yes, we arrived in San Francisco. We got the iconic sneakers. The group soon heads to the roof of the pyramid and recovers the rings, which, as they're waiting for the elevator to go up, this is another notable sequence that I found funny. There are people standing by them, and he's in a duffel bag. Or a backpack or something.
Do you have a kid? Do you have your kid in that duffel bag? It's not my kid.
It says it's not his kid, and they're just awkwardly staring.
Oh.
It's a kid, but it's not my kid.
Yeah, it's a kid. It's not my kid, though. And then he's begging. He wants out, and then he talks about being in...
No. Well, this is better than the dog cage I was in earlier.
He says the dog cage earlier, and then she takes the bag and zips it closed completely.
Please don't, I'm afraid of the dark.
Yes, as he's yelling that. The two people standing near them are backing away.
Just like back away.
It's just like little sequences like that just add so much value.
Also that he pulls out his police badge and goes, "There's someone going to jump. I have to get up there." You came all the way from Montana?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how important it is. Okay, and then lets him go.
It just goes right up. So they're on top of the building now. And of course Robotnik arrives. He gets the bag of rings, but Robotnik arrives piloting an advanced attack hovercraft powered by the Quill. And Sonic is forced to fight off Robotnik's drones. and use one of his rings to send Tom and Maddie back to Green Hills to protect them. They again go to the sequence where they go slow motion again, where, well, he's super speed. Not really slow motion, but he's super speed. Robotnik is concerned because he didn't expect that to happen, but he's okay with it because thank you for the host, Cody. He's like, he expected something unexpected to happen, so he's okay with it, is how he like calmed his nerves down, because he's a complete control freak, obviously. But during this time, we go into that super fast sequence. He knocks them off the building, and he has to basically save them while dodging all these missiles and various things. And then uses the ring so they don't splat on the ground to get them back safely to Green Hills. What did you guys think of this little sequence?
Yeah. Well, see, you get the if you notice, as he's going through a little slow-mo speed, Robotnik is still continually going to press the button. And Sonic doesn't know that he has this. Oh, thank you, Cody. Hip, hip, hooray.
Yes, 2,000-bit donation from Cody. Hip, hip, hooray. Thank you so much.
And, but then you get... So Sonic doesn't know this, so he's going around just messing around because he knows he's got plenty of time. And then you get the part to where Robotnik, Eggman gets to actually press the button, and then he goes back. He's in the slow-mo with Sonic.
Yeah.
And then when he does that, he goes up, comes back down, and shoots a beam towards Sonic, where it's sending Sonic tumbling, losing all his coins. Which is an homage to the game, because whenever Sonic got hit by something, what happened? You lost all your coins.
He did, so that was a nice little nod to the games. Anything else you guys want?
When,
Go ahead.
when he eventually reaches out and gets the one ring, oh, got one, and then he can run faster again.
Yeah.
I do
When
like
he's
that
going
about
to
the
save him,
games
like-
where it's not like a mushroom like you have to get in Mario and you only get that one hit until your next one. As long as you always have one ring, you feel safe. So I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, and then it's like he goes down and collects them real fast, kind of like how you would do in the game. Try to collect as many as you could. So I thought it was a good, little reference back to the
It
game.
was always a horrible time in the game when you had almost enough to do, get that extra thing, and you hit something, and then ping, you're like, no! But yeah.
Going back to chat here, Lana said there's a ghost in our bathroom. But it was just the cat.
Uh-oh.
It was just the cat.
Oh. I thought she was making a poo joke.
No, the door opened. Nobody was there. She almost had me come save the day because no one was there, but it was the cat. Of course it was the cat.
Wouldn't you think it was the cat since you have a cat?
That's what happens when you don't
That'd be
shut
my
the
first
door
guess.
properly. That's why you got to shut the door.
I'm just saying, like, if something will happen and you have a cat, wouldn't you immediately think it's the cat?
Blame the cat. Always blame the cat.
You'd think so.
Just like I have kids, so if anything happens, it's the kids. They did it.
Usually. 500-bit donation from Cody King. Hip, hip.
Hooray.
Yeah, thank you. He said,
He's just
"Hey,"
trying to make sure that I don't win anything this month. That's all.
I guess so. Even though the pay-per-view would be your daughter's, I think the day of or day before your daughter's birthday.
She's the 30th.
Yeah. It's either the 29th or 30th. I can't remember. Whatever that Thursday is.
Thursday would be the 28th.
Oh, so it's the 28th then. No. He said he just wanted to get us to the 90% threshold, which if you guys didn't know, we are 90% towards our next giveaway of a console. How exciting is that? Somebody's going to get a brand new console or title belt or something else up to $500 in value. I'm excited to give another thing away, and hopefully one of our listeners, viewers, is excited as well to get one. We've given 4 away so far. And rated.
And none to me.
None to you, Ira, but rated, you were one of our
Rated
first
one.
winners. I think you were
That
the
I was.
first Xbox Series X
I was
winner.
the first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How's it treating you?
wonderful.
See, look at
I
that.
love it.
Happy listener, happy viewer. That's what we do. That's what we do.
Only downside is the games. Like, I don't know if the people that are developing the games are having issues making sure people are staying connected to things. Like,
I'm sure.
With the new game NBA 2K22.
Why did I know you were going to bring that one up? Yes, there's notorious problems with that series.
So I sit there and I try to join a friend. I mean, there's times that we'll connect and be able to go and play a game together, but then there's times to where you get stuck at a loading screen. You see your character, but in the bottom corner, you just keep seeing that the basketball with the number 22 in it loading. You still hear all the noise around, but you're just stuck there. Or you get to the point to where you're joining games in what they call the rec, which is like a gymnasium where you play pickup games.
Yeah.
Or even in the city where you play pickup games. And before the game starts or at the end of the game, you get a connection error. And you get kicked out.
That's what happens.
I mean,
we could have a podcast on broken games and we could talk for hours on that. That is a fact.
WWE 2K20.
That can, yeah.
Cold War was a big issue too.
Back to things, though, that we want to be broken, like Robotnik. Sonic challenges Robotnik in a race.
I'm a special kind of white guy.
Emma, thank you for the host. Emma's a special kind of white guy.
Emma.
But the Doctor is able to match his speed using the quill. The two engage in a chase battle across the world through San Francisco, France, China, and Egypt, inadvertently completing several Sonic's bucket list entries at the same time, ultimately returning to Green Hills, which is this is a continuation of the beginning sequence of Robotnik chasing him through the city, which he's like, well, you're probably wondering, Lana, thank you for the host. He's like, you're probably wondering how we got here. Well, let me just bring you back. And then he does the, funny rewind thing. And then that's when
my son mimicked that.
Of course. And that's when the story itself begins. But now we're back to where it all began. Go ahead.
I will point this out. It was when Sonic was saving Tom and Maddie.
Mm-hmm.
When they go flying through the ring. And remember back in the beginning of the movie, I forget who it is that mentioned it, but they were saying how, Tom is always the one that's there to help them. I think it was Maddie when they're on the phone.
Yeah.
And, when a car battery's dead in the winter, who goes and helps them? Tom does.
Oh, that was Sonic and Tom in the truck when he was saying he was going to leave.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the scene, but I remember it being mentioned. And then when they both get shot out, you get one of the, the residents from Green Hill comes around the corner and says, "Oh, you got a minute, Tom? The cow's giving birth and everything like that."
He's like,
he says, "Yeah, give me a minute."
200-bit donation from Cody. Hip hip.
Hooray.
Hooray. So we do have to mention a character that we've neglected to bring up. The Crazy Local.
Crazy Carl.
Crazy Carl.
Crazy Carl. Who's not Crazy Carl. He's just observant Carl.
Yes, highly
Super
observant
Carl.
Super observant. That's right. Super observant. So that's something that is important to the plot because nobody believed that Sonic was a thing when he's been saying he kept seeing this blue demon, basically. Fun fact, too, about the film. There was an alternate intro to the film that was recorded with him basically trolling the local crazy guy and getting out of his traps and messing him up. Like messing his traps up.
They had that scene in there, a short version of it.
There's a short version of it still in there, but there was a longer version of it. If you own a copy of the movie, it's in the extra features. It's a deleted scene, but it is an alternate opening to the film. But they kept the condensed one, and I feel the opening way they did it was better by design. But that was the original opening sequence, and that was, I don't know, it was a weird start if they would have kept it. But yes. So we're back in Green Hills again after the chase sequence. Robotnik find the corners of beaten Sonic, but Tom and the town folk intervene, buying Sonic time again to regain his strength. This was a kind of a sad sequence because Sonic's beat down, laying down in the middle of the
Yeah,
town.
it was a
And
touchy scene.
They make you think that he may no longer be with us.
yeah, so that might be the end of Sonic. But he
But do
overcomes.
you know what gave him the strength?
What is that? Enlighten us.
Tom says it's his friend. That's why he's willing to sacrifice himself for Sonic.
Yep.
Oh,
Power of friendship.
the power of friendship.
And then as soon as
It's
he
like-
says it, Sonic is like, "I have all the power," and
And he
It
does.
kind of makes you think. It kind of makes you think of like all those Dragon Ball Z episodes when Goku's almost beaten, and then somehow he gets some extra strength and goes beyond.
And he did. He used an
Yeah.
electromagnetic powered spin
he did
dash.
his rolling attack. Yeah.
And he defeated him.
And
He
they
sent him.
sent Robotnik to the Mushroom World.
Yes, Mushroom. Was it Mushroom Hill Zone?
You think so?
So it's the Mushroom Planet, as they describe it here. Following the
And he's got
incident,
Agent Stone.
he just have Agent Stone helping him out. Following the incident, Tom and Maddie decide to stay in Green Hills and let Sonic live with them, and they surprise him with all his things from his cave in their attic. So he's got his own space and he gets to live with them.
And even the dog Ozzy likes him at the end.
Yes. The government agrees to hide Sonic's existence by erasing all evidence of the events, including records of Robotnik's existence.
And give them a $50 Olive Garden gift card.
Yes, they present him with an envelope with basically a presentation that is going to be this extravagant thing, and it was a gift card for Olive Garden
For $50.
for $50.
Because they're on was it the never-ending possibles? They never end.
They never end. So
Yeah.
that was a little funny humor. They got a plug too, which I mean is kind of nice. I can't tell you the last time I ate there, but hey, good for them. We then go to a bonus like mid-credits sequence after a cool animated like little outro of the movie, which was all retro bit, and it had that upbeat like pop hip hop song, and I'll Run. You guys know it. It's going to be stuck in your heads. It was stuck in my oldest. He kept singing that song and had to listen to it over and over and over and over and over. Ty says that Ty's never been to Olive Garden. You're not missing much, to be honest.
I have never been there either.
You're not missing much, to be
How have
honest.
you never
You know-
been to Olive Garden?
You know, the funny thing is how I said I was watching the movie earlier.
Mhm.
The scene where I left off to go get dinner was the ending when he comes and drops off the Olive gift card.
It prompted you. You're like, I need food. Months later, a now insane Robotnik, still in possession of Sonic's quill and usable equipment salvaged from the remains of his hovercraft, shaves his head and grows a thick mustache and swears to return to Earth and exact revenge against Sonic. He says he's going to be home by Christmas, is basically how he summed it up.
Everyone else would die there, but because he's him,
Yep.
he'll be back by Christmas.
So, rated, we get closer to the iconic look that you mentioned,
We do.
which we know there's a sequel, by the way. We said that earlier in the podcast.
Yeah.
What is his going to look resemble? You think he's going to be closer to what you said you wanted him to be?
I'm guessing
Possibly. I mean,
I'm guessing they'll keep the dash, but
well, because I mean, if you really think about it, in the game, he has like them skinny, long legs with a round, short torso that turns into his bottom part too.
It looks like an egg with legs.
Exactly.
An Eggman, if you will.
You did mention of how Tom and Maddie brought Sonic's cave to their attic, right?
Yes, I did say that, yep.
Yeah.
yep.
So-
And then
Which-
which is weird because one of my favorite characters, because I played Sonic 2,
Yes.
has his little cameo at the end. Good old Miles.
Miles per hour. Get it? Miles per hour. Per hour.
Mhm.
Per hour.
Also known as Tails.
Tails. So yes. He emerges from a ring portal and begins his search for him, and that's where we go to the actual closing credits of the film. We do know, obviously, as I said, there's going to be a sequel. It's out April of 2022 unless delays hit it. We do know that Jim Carrey is coming back. We do know that Ben Schwartz is going to continue playing Sonic the Hedgehog, which I thought he did a great job as the character. He was very likable. His voice fit the character.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm assuming that James Marsden is going to come back, as well as Tika Sumpter. I don't know who else is going to, return, but we do know that Knuckles, spoiler, Knuckles is confirmed for the next movie.
Yes, that I did.
He was one of your favorite ones, wasn't he?
He was one of my favorite ones, yes. And did you guys hear who was going to be the voice actor for him?
No, not yet.
Idris Elba.
Oh, really? That would be a good one.
They considered
dude's in
Jason
everything.
Momoa for the role, but Idris Elba will be the voice actor for Knuckles. So that'll be interesting. I think that'll work out really good. Knuckles, yes, for those that don't know, you said it, he's one of my favorite characters. I love that he could climb up the walls and then he could just kind of float and, glide. Tails, I felt, was cheating because you could just fly everywhere. Sonic was the iconic character.
Well, with Tails, you can't really fly for a long period of time.
No, you would get tired, but still, it made things a little bit easier to get to.
I may or may not have used just Tails to beat Sonic 2 before.
I use them both because then you get an extra hit on the boss battles. Because he jumps after you. This is the 30th anniversary this year of Sonic the Hedgehog. So it's fitting that we're doing this review this year. It's also been confirmed that they are re-releasing the first 4 Sonic games from the Sega Genesis. So Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Sonic and Knuckles. Ported via emulator to a game collection. Not a remaster, but a rebundling or repackaging, paying tribute to 30 years. I don't know as far as what extra content is coming with it. I hope they do some sort of really cool fan, service for it. There's no confirmation on release date. I hope they release it this year because it is the 30th. That encyclopedia that you got me last year for Christmas for Zelda, iRob. Yeah. I think that company or another print company is doing one, which I've pre-ordered already, for Sonic. 30 years of Sonic. So much like what you had got me for Zelda, they're doing one for Sonic. So I'm looking forward to that. And Trevor says fan service, you want them to give Sonic boobs? I'm sure that in some weird format exists out there. So, yeah.
Why would you want Sonic to have boobs?
Dude, it's the internet. I'm not questioning anything and anyone's interest. That's not why I'm here. So I'm going to leave that one alone. Because somebody is into that. So whatever you're into.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that are into that, which is the scary thing.
Yeah, see, now you got chat going. I'm going to ignore these comments from here. You've got them excited. Good Lord. So, yeah, what do you guys want from a sequel? Like, where do you go with the story? Obviously, the main story is Robotnik's going to come back, seek revenge. But what do you guys want in a sequel, especially with Tails and Knuckles now in it? Is there going to be betrayal? Is there going to be deceit? Will Knuckles be evil? Because he was, if you play the games.
Wasn't he the bad guy in the first one?
Yes. But not the very first one, but the first introduction of him in Sonic 3.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you guys want in a sequel?
More Sonic action.
Okay. It's rated?
I don't have any specifics. Like, just
It's kind of hard because, like, if you go off of the game, then you can't really get much from it. However, if they try to bring it to where they had the Sonic Adventures, hang on.
We're holding for him. I mean, while we're waiting, unless he's right back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. Go ahead.
I mean, there was the like, I was back to the game that I was talking about that came out on the GameCube. That was probably for the Dreamcast as well.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you bring in that type of storyline, I don't know where you would go for the sequel. I mean, you really have to have, as Trevor labeled someone, the creative god or whatever. They know who they are in chat.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you're like really creative, then you could go with a storyline somewhere.
I think it's going to be another fun one where it's going to be all the characters there, Robotnik, and they'll do something, and we'll watch it and be entertained. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so. This is one that I'll be eager to go back to theaters to see. I'll definitely be taking my oldest son. I look forward to that because that was our last movie that we saw in theaters. So it'd be nice to get him into a theater again, obviously safely, and see this movie. Obviously, time has gone. He's grown since. He's probably gained a new appreciation or understanding of Sonic games. He still loves this movie. It's on his tablet now, and he'll watch it from time to time. So in general, I just look forward to the sequel. I can't wait. Which brings us to the conclusion of this one. We've spoken pretty highly throughout this whole thing, which is a first, I think, for this show. Yes, what do you got before we get to a conclusion?
Well, I thought you were getting to conclusions.
Well, we're getting there.
Are we there yet?
We're there if we can be. This is the conclusion.
I was just going to say, your one question is this the worst video game movie?
Oh, that's my intro to the conclusion.
Very, very simple answer to your intro to the conclusion. No, this is not the worst video game movie because this one's actually pretty good.
Do you agree, Rated?
The movie, yes, it is pretty good to where it is not, horrible. I actually enjoyed it. It's something my son enjoys watching. There were, I mean, if they would have stuck with the original design of Sonic, then I think there would have been issues. But
I don't
changing
think
it to where it.
Go ahead.
Not really so much issues, but like it just wouldn't make it as good as it was.
For me, if they wouldn't have changed it, I couldn't. I would have just know how bad it looked. I wouldn't have been able to get past it. It wouldn't have mattered what they did. Like it would have ruined it.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, because I mean, you go off of this perception of what Sonic looks like, and then the design team goes with something different, and I'm glad that they listened to their audience and changed it, because like I said, it would have been hard to watch, because here it is, if you grew up playing Sonic and watching the cartoons and stuff like that, then it's like how Sonic should look. And granted, Eggman doesn't look as like he does in the games and stuff like that, but they still got a great actor to play him. So therefore, it kind of like cancels itself out. But just the way that Sonic's original look was going to be would have just been horrendous to where it probably wouldn't have done as well as it did.
Yeah, I think if they hadn't changed it, it probably wouldn't have done as well. I don't think personally it would have ruined the film, because I mean the film was set, right? They just went in and updated the visual effects. I think the plot helps this movie a lot. I think the voice acting, I think the characters and everything makes this such a strong movie. Them correcting the design obviously was a good choice. The internet can be brutal.
The following announcement
has
been paid for by the...
I'm going to turn off all sound alerts during podcasts, I think. Or just when they do their NOW, I'm just going to do the chicken dance for 2 hours during their next show.
Hey, don't ruin that. It's my faction.
So, but yeah, I don't think it'll ruin the... It would have ruined the movie.
Yeah,
But
it wouldn't have really ruined the story line that they had for the movie. It would have just ruined like visual features for people.
Yeah. So in conclusion, for me, I think this might be one of the best or my favorite video game films. It's definitely up there in contention for that top spot. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Internet, however, has different opinions. Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 63% based on 244 reviews, with an average rating of 5.9 out of 10. The critics' consensus reads, fittingly fleet and frequently fun, Sonic the Hedgehog is a video game-inspired adventure the whole family can enjoy and a fine excuse for Jim Carrey to tap into manic energy that launched his career. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted score of 47 out of 100 based on 42 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. Audience polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average of A on an A+ to F scale, and Post Talk reported it received a 4 out of 5 stars, with 70% of the viewers they surveyed saying they would definitely recommend it.
So that means normal people like it and the critics don't.
Basically. So...
Well, because the critics are probably thinking about how, like I was saying, about things that I was pointing out with the movie that were wrong. You know, the story doesn't match any of like the games and stuff. But it's kind of hard because, you know, as Rob mentioned earlier in the show, all that you would get is just a hedgehog running across the screen the entire time.
Yeah, I don't know. 63% is harsh. 5.9 out of 10 is harsh.
Yeah, those are very harsh. And I think it should have been higher.
Yeah.
At least a high 70s would have been good.
I could understand that. Those other ones are harsh. But honestly...
It's hard, and my take on it is I don't listen to anything critics say because, as you can tell from some of my other reviews, I like movies that a lot of people think are garbage.
Oh, I do too.
So I don't like. You can give me any website, I don't care what it says. I'm gonna watch it, see if I like it.
Yeah, I mean, same for me. I have
because everything's based off of personal opinion.
Right. Everything media is subjective, right? Anything.
And I think sometimes if there's one critic that says it's bad, every other one will be like, well, then it's bad. So they don't even it doesn't matter.
Well, there's influence. There is a profession now in this world known as an influencer.
They don't want to be the one where well, I disagree with everybody else, because then they're worried people will be like, well, you don't know what you're talking about, and stop listening to them. So they just...
Right. So you have to go with trends sometimes, which is a horrible thing. And that's why I said the internet can be cruel, because people tend to go with trends or influencers. People often don't make up their own opinions on a lot of things because they fear that. They fear ridiculement or resentment from their peers or by somebody else, because they put out their own thoughts, emotions, and feedback into the world, and somebody didn't agree, therefore they're shunned for that thought. Terrible mindset. It's prominent and prevalent in many kingdoms, including the nerd kingdom. There are gatekeeper nerds who will throw obscure facts out there, and if you didn't know these, you're not as cool as them, or they'll try to make themselves feel superior. That exists in sports, that exists in entertainment.
I dislike anybody that does that. If somebody comes in and is showing interest in something and they don't know every minute detail, so you cut them down for it, you're a horrible person and don't belong in any community. You should just get out.
It exists.
Never knock anybody because they're interested in something.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
Bugs the shit out of me.
But
so
I'm saying
sorry.
It exists though, and you know it exists.
There's my TED Talk for the day.
You're good. It exists though. That's the point I'm making, and that's the problem with influencers and paid critics and various things like that. We do this for fun. We don't care if you agree with us or don't agree with us. We're gonna have a conversation about it. Sometimes we're on the same page, sometimes we're not. Rob generally likes pretty much anything. Do I hold that against him? No.
Yes.
Well, it's just like
No. Don't care.
it's just like how Rob prefers hockey over football.
I do.
Nah, I mean,
Doesn't mean that I dislike football. I just
yeah, but it's to each their own. What they like.
Right. And people should be respected as such for the things they like. Let them be individuals.
I do want to point out my fantasy football team is 2-0 and I'm number 1 in the league. There you go.
Damn.
I'm number 1 in all my leagues.
Damn. Hey, when I did it one year, I was number 1 for a hot minute too. And then I did not end up number 1 at the end of the season. And I never played again because I said, F this. This is stupid. Because all my people got hurt. And then I got crappy subs.
Yeah, that does tend to happen.
And then bye weeks, I hate swapping. What the hell's a bye week? I have to swap people? No, I picked my roster. That's who should be in. Make them play.
Yeah, but they don't play that week.
I don't care. Go play for a different team. Get me points. Stupid.
Well, I will tell you this
Sports ball.
much. I will tell you this much. And I read this, and it was after I did all my drafts. A person came up with a valid point when talking about bye weeks. He's all like, I don't care if all my players have the same bye week. I'm going to draft the best team possible. And if I lose that 1 week, I lose that 1 week. All the other weeks I'm going to win because I have the best possible players at those positions.
Well, I did that for my starters, and then for my backups, I tried to get a guy that didn't have the same bye week, so I could at least swap somebody in. That was my strategy. So,
well, that's typically my strategy too. Is I try to get people to where I can plug them in, but
we took our movie podcast into fantasy football.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
Yeah, you got me. I'm sitting back like, what the hell is happening?
I was just bringing that up because I thought that was interesting. About how just draft the best possible team. Who cares if they have the same bye week?
Well, apparently anything can happen on the Dosage podcast, the movie one here. We got next week we're reviewing Remember the Titans, I guess. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Hey, that was a good movie.
Was it a good movie, though? I didn't
lovely movie. I love that movie.
It's a good movie.
I didn't like that movie.
How do you not?
I don't like
it?
feel-good movies like that. They're all friggin' copy and
What
paste.
about Rudy? Do you like Rudy?
I like Rudy because you like Rudy. Because I know you adored that shit. That was like your idolization movie you always talked about in high school and junior high. So I'm like, all right, I guess I have to like this because you like it.
Remember the Titans.
It's not for me. Again, sports. It's not my area. So
You like Rocky?
I do enjoy Rocky, and those are good movies.
All right. That's a little redeeming there for you.
Okay, yeah, that is redemption.
Yeah, I'm very. This whole apartment stinks. Love it. He's just so pissed about everything. I don't know. Good stuff. But yes, this is the rDNA podcast, the real Doesn't Occupy, REEL, because we keep it real. We talk about movies here. One day we'll venture into other movies on this podcast. There are only so many video game films that we could talk about. I don't know which one we're going to do next. One of the top 5 people for this month is going to get that opportunity to pick our next one. But I do want to say, in addition to October's pick, we're going to do a special super episode for you guys in October. I don't have a date yet planned.
Halloween special?
But the Halloween special for this show is planned. Again, I don't know the specific date. We'll give more details. But it's going to be a long show. But it's going to be an awesome show.
Like, is it 7 movies?
6.
6. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So 6 movies.
In one show.
In one show. And what are those? Resident Evil, which is from a video game. So, were they all good? Were they all bad? I don't know.
I don't know. The video games.
They're the video games. There's some good and some bad, kind of like what I feel like the movies are.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's a mixed bag. Mixed bag in both accounts.
Yeah, I've heard the same. Like,
so
I heard Resident Evil 7 is like the best Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played it.
Village.
We talked about this
Village,
in one of the
Village was
video
really,
game.
We did in
the year years in video game movies, shows, podcasts that we did, we talked about it, and it brought up one of the last ones that I played for the Resident Evil because it killed it for me.
Village was really good. But we'll save that for another day because we're going to be doing comparisons to that source material as well on that episode. Again, super episode. They all had Mia Jovovich, so they are all good, says Lana. I agree.
That is a plus for every one of them.
It is a plus.
For me as well. Yes.
So
that is a check in the plus box for every one of those.
Indeed, multi-pass. So if you guys have time, please watch those 6 films. I know this is a huge ask. Normally we just ask you to watch 1 per month to join the conversation with us here.
It's not a huge ask because they're good.
Spoiler alert.
Know where we can watch them at?
I will find out where, and I'll start posting that in advance too for those that do want to watch these movies.
Because I got to watch them.
Yeah, I'll post the places that you can find them or purchase or rent them in advance so you guys have enough time, especially for 6. And then on top of it, we'll be doing the pick, the winner's choice next month as well. So technically, in October, we're going to be reviewing 7 movies. The busy month ahead for us, but that's okay. I love watching film. So next week, Tuesday, on the music review Nerd Acumen podcast, Motionless in White, Disguise, their 2019 album. We'll be reviewing that, so give that a listen. That should be available on YouTube. It's available on Spotify. That's how I'm listening. Again, 1 week from tonight, next week, Tuesday, that'll be closing out September for us for our podcasts. Our regular dosage podcast is on hold right now because we have completed all the years in gaming. We just concluded the 2020 year. So until 2021 is wrapped, that'll be the next one for that series. So it'll be a yearly show now. And that's it. So we've wrapped that one for a while. So just the last 2 Tuesdays in the month, movies, and then the last Tuesday is music. Those are our Tuesday podcasts. The remainder of the month on Tuesdays is open for whatever. We might be doing games, we might be doing random stuff, whatever. We might be doing behind the scenes of DNA. Really anything can happen on Tuesdays now. Other than that, if you guys like wrestling, check out the Nerds of Wrestling podcast. That is generally on Sundays when they can make that work if there's not a pay-per-view or other things happening. And then be on the lookout for when they do reschedule that content. This Sunday, of course, is a WWE pay-per-view Extreme Rules. So no podcast this Sunday from my understanding. So they will probably put that the next day or whenever they can. So be on the lookout for that. Every week on the DNA Twitch channel, you can find Nerd Acumen Wrestling, which is our fantasy wrestling show. Over 412 episodes strong. That is every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us for that. And then just turn on notifications. Pop-up streams happen. Cody plays random things. I intend on playing random things soon. Maybe as soon as tomorrow night. I might be playing Death Stranding. Lana might be playing something soon. We also have Wicked and Mikey that do pop-up streams on the channel. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that, that's all I have as far as housekeeping notes and various things happening on the channel. Do you guys have anything you want to shout out or say before we exit?
I still got to figure out what we're doing for my community night.
You do. Yeah, the month's almost over.
Almost over. Yeah.
So.
I would do it. I just don't know who would stream it so we can show it. Like, I can get it set up where everybody gets into the game with me, but you wouldn't be able to talk to each other.
I don't know. Figure something out. We'll plan something. Shoot me a message. I'll help you. Rated, what you got?
Nothing really. Other than everyone be safe out there.
Yes. Well, this again has been... iRob doesn't want to. This has been the rDNA podcast. We keep it real here. Keep it REEL. And I want to thank Rated for picking this movie out. I'm so happy that we finally got to review this. This is, right now, as of the movies we've reviewed, number 1. This is the best video game film of the stuff we've reviewed thus far. It is not the worst.
This was up on top. I liked Pikachu better, but that's just...
What? Get out of here. No.
So all the other stuff I didn't mind, but that one is what put it over the edge for you. That's what did it.
Mm-mm.
The only thing that would make me choose Detective Pikachu over Sonic is Ryan Reynolds.
Let me get out of here now. All right. Well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion.
Oh,
Which
I
means
never
it's the
said it
only
was
right one.
higher. I never said it was higher. I'm just saying the only reason I would ever say it is Ryan Reynolds. But Sonic is higher on the list than Detective Pikachu.
My opinion is the only one that matters. It's all good.
This guy. Well, if you want to know what we're talking about, we are archived on Google, Apple, and Spotify. Check out our podcasts. Give them a listen. Give them a follow, like, subscribe, share us out. Tell your friends. Tell your family. We do exist. And for everyone that contributes with views, donations, support, likes, shares, comments, and everything you guys do, huge shout out for helping us become more visible on the internet, because it's a challenge out there. It's a struggle, people. But we're thankful to have all of you that do support us. So thank you so much. And again, shout out Rated for tonight for making it happen. We owe you. And this is our gift. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And that's all I have for now.
That's all I got too.
Hi, Rob.
Stay classy, San Diego.
All right.
There we
So
go.
I'll run.